Hello there, how are you doing in the name of Christ? It's your girl Kurazi, Crankay, Karazocious, Karabzaza. Depending on how you want to look at things, really. I apologize for being fidgety. I just want to be neat. How's it? In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. So, I appear to be on a roll or a rant these days, and I shall not cease being on it, because that's just what happens when there is an issue that you have to deal with. I am on my fifth, I believe it's my fifth, or it could be my sixth. All I know is that it ends on Friday, day of fasting. At least this particular declared one ends on Friday. I might just continue anyway, right? So it's 15:52, almost 4 p.m., which is like a tad late for me to be coming. But the reason why I am this late today is because, and so therefore I'm going to miss out on the precious sun. The reason why I am late is because I suddenly woke up in the middle of the morning before I was done with all of my hours. I went to bed perhaps at like 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning, and I was up like by 4:35, 6, and I couldn't go back to sleep. And I wanted to force myself to just go back to sleep, but I couldn't. And that's because God charged me or implored me or put it on my heart of hearts to like do my work already. Like my content had published, and so I just like got up and started writing. And the last work that I did was then basically published at like 9 in the morning or something. Yeah, at 9 in the morning, because I started writing it at like 6 a.m. in the morning, 5:30, 6, and I was done with the review and everything by 9:10ish. But I hadn't gotten all my hours in, so I went back to sleep once I had published my last bit of work. And I woke up then at like 1:30 in the afternoon, and that's why I'm only coming as late as I am now. Yesterday I came late because I was sad. I slept like during the day. I told you guys that. But last night I guess that's the reason why I woke up earlier than normal. I forced myself to sleep during the day. I eventually did wake up and get over it. But then that meant that I lagged in the night. So, bear with me when the sun sets and all the glory of natural lighting is gone. If anything, I think it's already kind of gone, but you know, we try. Okay, so I can be laborious, but really, with the kind of depth of information or content that I intend to share, maybe it is important to start talking about fluffy, light stuff first before I actually get deep into it. So I am currently addressing a series of topics right now that have to do with relationships. And people might even want to ask me, why are you even focusing on that? You're like nowhere near even being with someone. Well, not entirely the like false, the truth of that. And secondly, I agree though that I am sort of kind of knowing like in a position to be with someone, but a person in my position and in my shoes has no options, very few options to feasibly look at without walking into so much random despair that they might end up killing themselves or whatever. Like I am literally on the precipice of suicide. I am dealing with that ideation on the daily. I literally want to die. Like it's that basic. So in order for me to not die, I have to comfort myself with things that are within my reach and my grasp. And currently the Christian church is looking to be released or freed or, you know, made to have a better existence period by the rapture. There was a time when I was hoping and looking forward to nothing but the rapture, and that really broke my heart when it didn't happen. I was still in the squalor. So unlike the rest of the body of Christ right now, unlike the rest of Christendom right now that is looking at the blessed hope of his return, I'm literally looking rather at the blessed hope of my redemption within this life so I can go on to live a better life. It's the only way I can have hope. I cannot look forward to the rapture. Like I literally can't. Even if it's happening tomorrow, to hope on it is just taxing on me emotionally because it just has not happened, and it's been 8 years. So it's not that I don't believe in the rapture, it's that I personally cannot afford to look at it because it hurts to do that. And that is the reason why I have gravitated away too much of my attention from not so much end times prophecy, but a lot of talk about the rapture. I'm backing off, not because I don't believe it's happening, not because I don't believe that the end is here, but because I cannot afford to believe that the end is so here that tomorrow I'm going home, because that just causes a lot of despair inside me. So with that said, then I found myself going back to watching on YouTube content that I used to watch a lot of when I was still focused on like world desires. My persecution has made me not focus on world desires. Like I stopped longing for things like a husband. I've never really stopped longing for children, but I stopped hoping for restored life. And that broke me real bad. It made me so depressed that I wanted to commit suicide. So we are not going to do that, at least not until such time that we are out of this. The best Christians to hope in the rapture are those that actually have lives to live. Tomorrow they can wake up and look into the faces of people that care about them or lives that make sense. I have got to hope for restored life here, not for being caught up in the clouds. The feasibility of restored life here is far grander a thing to look into by me than rapture. So for those reasons, I'm not about that life per se, but I'm not looking at that predominantly as my way out. Why have I labored even reiteratively on that particular point? I have done that because I keep on hearing from the Holy Spirit that I am going to be released very soon. I'm close to my release, basically from the chains that I am in. And I've been hearing that for months now, and it's really very frustrating that it's been as long as that. I was told I'm going to get an epic release, and the only way that I have been able to put two and two together and map an epic release for myself in the nearing months, given my life conditions, was the rapture. I literally believe that. I mean, what other better epic release exists out there other than the rapture? I held on to that, I hoped for it, and year on year, like, it just kept on coming. New Year's Eve happy, New Year's Day happy, and I was still here. So I started to change my mind about what perhaps maybe the Lord might mean by an epic release. That's why I'm back on social media. That's why I'm back without doing work underground. I thought that my work was going to be perused by the persecuted church in the tribulation. I thoroughly believed that. But I came back to social media because I believed that maybe, perhaps, just maybe, this epic release that Christ is talking about is that I will suddenly come back to social media and I will update content, upload content, and then it will boom. Next thing, I will start making money and people are going to be like, oh, she shocked us. Well, I've been back for just under 2 months, maybe 2 months on the dot, and look at me still getting 1 or 2 random views and 1 maximum, perhaps 2 if I'm really blessed for the day, likes, and no comments. Nobody's about to be starting to monetize their channel just yet. I'm not about to make money. So Jesus, are you really like just playing games with me right now? Except no, that's not what Christ does. So I was like, what is my epic release? I'm languishing, I'm in pain, I'm in a lot of sorrow. Plus I have these like random fools for friends on Facebook that thoroughly are sitting, crossing their fingers, shaking like a leaf, but nonetheless hoping that they will be okay, that I don't come up for air. They're like thoroughly annoying, and I am thoroughly irritated by them all, and the fact that I have to keep on dumping a whole bunch of really impressive content on a bunch of buffoons that are not hearing me, they're like swine, and I'm casting my pearls to them, is quite agitating. I am frankly annoyed by the fact that I have to keep on like sharing content with those Facebook zombies. It grates me quite thoroughly, like on the daily. No, I don't like them. So I was like, Father, this is taxing, but I keep doing it because I have a feeling, just a feeling, like I can sniff it in the sky. It smells some kind of way that this is my epic release, that me continuing to do this work in this way is my epic release. But I am talking to a conglomerate of zombies. They're like the Walking Dead. They're like flies in the room that I just keep on having to swat or spray with doom. I don't know. What shall I do? I'm feeling unhappy about the fact that I keep on talking to a bunch of people that are deliberately gliding right past my content like it ain't the baddest content in the game. They're acting like I'm not smarter than them, because I am. And they're also acting like I'm not edifying, because I am. They're also acting like they're not hellbound and in dire need of hearing somebody that is giving them the gospel, because I am. So what in the world is going on? Why do I have to keep on talking to a bunch of zombies? I don't like them. And then the Lord was like, Bravo, my daughter, child over here, you are not talking to zombies because you can't talk to zombies. It's like talking to a wall. As much as you can talk to a wall, you're not actually talking to a wall, because if a wall has no ability to comprehend your words, honey, then it is not a thing to which you should be communicating. So when then you are speaking inside a jail cell, to yourself, rocking in a chair, if at all there is a chair in there to rock, let's just say like a bunk bed. If at all you're inside your prison cell, rocking on your bunk bed, like literally swinging ahead and backward, and then you like talk, na 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 boom cha na na, that's like you're talking, na 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 boom cha na na, and every day you're like na 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 boom cha na na na. Are you really talking to the wall? Are you talking to a prison guard? Are you? No, you were talking allegedly, apparently, to yourself until you one day discovered that there is a cellmate, like, next door to you, that's been hearing you every single day on some na-na-na-na, cha-chum-pum, na-na. And the cellmate, after listening to you long enough, is like, hey, I get it, okay, like what? Like, here lies the deal, here's the circumstance, na-na-na-na, chim-chim-chim, to na-na-na. And I'm like, oh, really? Na-na-na-na, chim-chim, to na-na-na-nay. Oh, really? No, na-na-na-na, nay, no. Na-na-na-na, basically, there are certain people who hear my language. There are certain people who understand what I'm saying. There are certain people that upon me planting seeds, they actually do flourish, some kind of a flower sparkling in their hearts. There are individuals that I do not see seeing me. There are individuals that I have no clue I'm talking to. There are people that I am hitting like nails into the coffins of. And these individuals will one day, just like a cellmate next door to you that has been ignoring you for months while you're in solitary confinement, but he's right next door to you and can overhear every last one of your num-num-nums, will like reciprocate. They will ultimately respond because they somehow have been getting reached little by little by your na-na-na-na-num-shum-shum-dun-da. And so when then they respond, you will know that you have not been doing stuff in vain. So the Lord gave me comfort. Hey, solace, like put some kind of salve on my open wounds and said, honeybee, herein lies the deal. Keep talking, keep writing, keep dumping your content amidst a bunch of zombies. What is imperative is to understand is that there is someone, or there are someones that are listening to you. They're just not quite coming around to responding to you just yet. But they hear you because I've been giving them understanding to hear. They have ears to hear. They have eyes to see. So when you say nananapa chum chum, of course your prison guard is not listening to you. Of course the walls have no ears. They're just walls. But your prison cellmate on the next door room, the person that is right behind you, that you literally thought was not even there because you didn't even know that there was an inmate opposite, like next door to you, and that the walls were thin enough for him or her to hear you. They'll one day respond, and then you will have a companion and an ally. The Lord has basically told me, communicated to a sister up in these streets, right, that I'm going to get out of this prison. Yes, it's going to be an epic release, but it's not just my epic release. I am going to come out through another cellmate. Another prisoner, another person that has got prison-like conditions, another person that has been held, bound by the futility of the insensitivity of their ecosystem around them. Another individual that is like a thriving ball of potential that needs to burst out into some kind of grandness that the Lord has set apart for them to walk in. But this person is presently hugely, heavily, like literally gargantuanly underestimated by their environment, and so therefore they lack, you know, that like thing that they imagine could get them out of solitary confinement. They are facing basically a lifetime of loneliness, just like I'm facing a lifetime of loneliness. These individuals, or this individual, is somebody that is not yet presently okay or cool or good or on some kind of a grand trajectory or killing it, kicking it, jumping up and down on the spot like a kangaroo. No. It's a cellmate, a person similarly also in solitary confinement that is violently misinterpreted and misunderstood and therefore underestimated by a toxic ecosystem of zombies. So, I mean, when you are Alice in the Resident Evil, living in a world that is inebriated, literally drunk, with zombies walking around, and they fast and they eat people and they keep on chasing you every time they spot you, you are gonna imagine that you're the only one that has survived and lived past that, until you go into some underground, like, subway station or whatever, and find that there are 3 people hunkering down there, bunkered in there, holding out, while one of them every so often takes turns to try and see if they can't find food in the environment. You find people, they're scanned, they're scattered, they're sparsely scattered at that. They're like pollen that goes on to get driven around by the wind, and so pollinizes. What is this? Pollinates like a plant. It is something that has to be blown around by the wind. It has to be enabled by the wind of which is the Holy Spirit, in order for them to cause other things to like flourish and be fertilized and grow and pollinated and what have you. But without the wind, they cannot do what they need to do. They're driven literally by the leading of the Holy Spirit, by God. And they're few in number, they're far between. But just like pollen, few in number as it might be and far between, it has power to cause an entire like flower bed to sprout in just a couple of weeks once it's landed where it needs to land. The seed of the gospel is often thrown on some randomly like irresponsible ground, like my Facebook conglomerate. It is often thrown on some randomly irresponsible ground, and there's nothing that we can do for that ground. But amidst that randomness, there is beauty among the ashes. I don't know if you Google on YouTube, beauty among ashes, not YouTube, sorry, but Google, beauty among ashes, you will usually find like pictures of flowers that are growing in like a war zone, like some ravaged space, some space that should not, given the toxicity of the soil or the environment, thrive. But then there's like a rose and it's like crimson red and it's glowing, or this like bright yellow. It is an unlikely find in an environment that ought not cause a flower to flourish. If anything, everything there that is a flora, everything there that is a flower should rather just suffocate and die. But it doesn't die, it grows. That's beauty among ashes. That is what fertile soil in a land full of wickedness is like. It causes beauty among the ashes to sprout. It makes gorgeous chrysanthemums grow in soil that has been intoxicated by radiation damage. That is what the Lord does. He raises up an army that way. Some months ago, I dreamt about the Power Rangers. Fire, wind, like earth, God. You know the Power, go, Power Rangers. I dreamt about the Power Rangers. I was like, oh God, I saw the Power Rangers in a dream. And the Lord was like, yes, my daughter, your struggle, your suffering, your persecution is much like the Power Rangers. Prior to them walking in their superpowers and knowing what under heaven they need to do, they don't know that they're fire, wind, earth, the word, whatever those 5 Power Rangers people are. But once they come in close proximity to each other, their respective calling starts to beep, it starts to glow, it starts to sparkle and sprinkle, it starts to make some strange noise that they only can hear. And then they realize that they've got mutant powers. And so they come together and it's the go Power Rangers. I had a dream that I was one of the Power Rangers, and that there are 4 others out there, however many really might be the 10 amount of people that need to rise up and do a thing out here in these streets. And they all are living in obscurity, they're struggling, they're settling, or at least they're being forced to settle They're being made to do random, weird, other strange stuff, or they're being disregarded even though they're very richly called by God to do a different thing. Some of them are like Moses, so they kind of stutter, they don't know how to preach, they don't know how to talk, and they don't think they can do this, but the Lord will correct the circumstance and make it better, right? Flip their circumstance upside down type thing. But because they're presently in a very underestimating environment, they don't know that one day when they come in close proximity to yet another Power Ranger, something inside them is going to beep and beep and beep and beep. And so as a Power Ranger, tantamount really, like I'm just using these analogies because it's what you understand in the world, right? Being the tantamount, therefore, of a Power Ranger, the Lord has told me to be strong and not worry, fret, front, neither wrestle with my thoughts, and lean on my own understanding when I upload content, be it on YouTube or wherever I might find myself uploading in Facebook, the environment where it's just fueled, teeming at the folds with these bubbling brooks of zombies. Do not fret and front, do not worry, do not fear, because there will be somebody, or at least 2 or 3 or 5, or however many people will ultimately respond to you. And when the conglomerate of you come together, there will be so much Power Rangers, that emanates from you, the combined ministry that you're going to have, or the combined influence for the kingdom of heaven, the calling that you're going to have when you walk together in this thing is going to be like exorbitant. Like the magnitude of it is going to be so transforming that even the very zombies that you are looking at on Facebook on some, hello, wake up, do you not realize it's inappropriate to walk around dead? You should be in a cemetery deep in the ground somewhere, and yet you're groveling. Stop. Go be buried. Those very people, just like that valley of dry bones that is written off in the book of the Lord in Ezekiel, I believe 36, will finally grow some sinew, some muscles, grow and actually start to walk. Like, what are you doing? Who likes being in a grave? So do not fret in front over your like random audience there on Facebook. They're thinking jack about you. They're like Nineveh. As soon as they realize that there's a lightning strike coming out of heaven that's going to strike them dead like in a minute, they're going to wake up. Right now they underestimate you because you're a Lone Ranger, Power Ranger, and you are yet to find fire, wind, like the rest of the Power Rangers. You're like a mutant that is the only one that has discovered their mutant powers in the country or in the city, so you are severely persecuted. But as soon as you come together with another mutant type thing, you're going to move mountains. You're totally and entirely and comprehensively going to move mountains. There is a spirit, a severe one at that, of underestimation on the part of the world on my Power Ranger tantamounts, however many of them there might be. And it is not yet time for them to come out. So I was like, okay, God, so if I'm a Power Ranger, oh, give me fire then, give me wind, give me like my fellow Power Ranger water, whatever might be the person that I will first meet, my cellmate, like the Okie in the other room, the inmate that's also in solitary confinement, violently misunderstood and misinterpreted and also underestimated by the general planet, and they feel like their life is over, and they're also facing, like Karabo, hello, a life of extreme loneliness. Give me at least one, give me at least two. And the Lord was like, yours is to be patient. So basically I am being comforted by the Holy Spirit. I'm being comforted by God to not faint when I upload and literally no one looks at my stuff, or 1 or 2 people look at my stuff. There will always be at least one. That much is a fact. Because there is a fellow Power Ranger that just needs like a little bit of a clear doom defibrillation. And because I've been persecuted for as long as I have been, and I have been thriving and striving and pushing and whatever, and like I'm doing relatively okay. I've done well in persecution. I have held on to Christ. I am really very strong. The Lord has therefore given it to me to sit out like I've been so violently rejected for as long as I've been violently rejected, and yet stayed with the Lord Jesus Christ, that I have got ability, apparently, allegedly, I'm like a Dr. Power Ranger, to bring back from sorrow or sadness or discomfort, disquiet, or throwing in the towel type mood, the other Power Rangers. Yes, I've been given spearhead like status over these like other people. I don't know who they are, where they're at, what they're chilling in, but they exist. I'm not saying there's exactly 5 of them, but the Lord describes it similarly to the Power Rangers. People who grow up not knowing that they got something that they need to do, certain callings, until one day just meeting one makes them beep or something. Okay. So when did my own little thingy-mabobby beep? It didn't really. I just wanted to follow Jesus. That's it, right? I just wanted to follow Jesus. And so in following Christ, then within this persecution, he groomed me. And as time has progressed over these years, I've then come to learn that there is something big that I must do, but I cannot do it underground. I cannot be looking at just like these walls and anticipate that they're going to hear me. I need to sing out loud in a solitary confinement cell and trust that there are cellmates literally around me. Like I just had a like open vision now that was like a split second long, frankly, of what do you call this? Seeing like a, you know, like a flashlight. You know, when you live like at the mountains and you've got like a best friend that lives on the other side of the mountains and you communicate like almost with Morse code using a flashlight. I just had a vision now of being in like some kind of a solitary confinement space, and those like flashlights are like in individual cells, including my own. I ain't alone. Get there. Anyway. Sorry, this is life. When you've been in prison for long, you burp. You just do it. Don't nobody here to come and get like diss you for it. Try. Come at me. Anyway, fine. So this is then the situation that I'm in. So as a result then of that like vision or dream that I had some time ago about the Power Rangers, God using that analogy to explain to me what's actually going on out here in these streets, I then made a decision just the other day because God told me I'm going to have an epic release. I'm still like, yeah, I decided that it's not the rapture. It might be the rapture. I might be mistaken. But I decided it's not the rapture because it's healthier that way for me. So that I don't ideate suicide, so I don't start to fantasize about it. So, you know what I mean? Get my point? Moving on. So then what is it, God? The Lord then made me come on social media back, return to a zombie land, and talk to a bunch of zombie people, and be like, ugh. And then get all crushed on the inside of my stomach and my heart by the fact that nobody's looking at me, and then try to throw in the towel, give up. I was even thinking of deactivating my Facebook profile again. Like disappearing again, going underground again. I will die. I was even thinking about that. And then the Lord said to me just like today, like not today, like yesterday, the recent work that I did, uploading about like guys, like he's just not that into you. Yeah, that blog that I did, that piece that I wrote in my WordPress account, that ever since yesterday, remember I spoke about trash in the black community and how it is that the black people are like, they've got problems, right? Anyway, yeah, that is when I was defibrillated out of a desire to just capitulate to rejection. Like, just, you're not listening to me more, so what's the point? If I die right now, I go to heaven, so you go to hell. Like, I had that mindset yesterday. I even went and I slept. The Lord snapped me out of it last night, but he snapped it out of me by telling me, the dustbin collection truck. That's what gave me motivation to do yesterday's work. What gave me motivation to do today's work is the story of various men in the Bible. Men in the capacity, really, of romantic partners. My heart just cringes every time I'm doing this work, and it's like some strange voice outside that I can't stand. But anyway, let's just continue, right, and talk. Like, the interruptions, these kinds of things, like, yeah, but, you can't exactly get irritated or annoyed when you're in solitary confinement, in prison, when gods are busy laughing and talking, disregarding your pain and sorrow. You literally just have to hunker down, suck it up, and deal. So this is what I have to deal with. People who walk around me casually, like they don't notice or care that there is a woman here that they're actively abusing, like the living daylights out of. It annoys me how casual they are to walk around an abuse victim that they're holding hostage. But we conquer. Let's move on. Okay? Power Rangers. Not Power Rangers, sorry. What God gave me today, even though I wanted to give up again. Like, I did so much work, and these days I don't even care anymore how long my videos are, because frankly I have like stuff to release. The Lion of the Tribe of Judah has roared. Who can but prophesy? I try to be succinct, but I'm not short, I'm loquacious. That's who I am. If you don't want to listen, bye. I'm done. So I'm just gonna speak my mind and say what I need to do. And say what I need to say. Sorry, I'm just going to do that with my legs so that I'm sitting in a comfortable position. And this is a song, my jeans are a little bit tight, so varicose veins, we don't want those forming. We don't want blood supply giving us problems with, like, the tone of our skin. So, yeah, please, like, I'm sitting this way not because I'm trying to be making anybody catch feels. It's because it's comfortable. Okay, cool. All right, the thing... Why have I been speaking of late about men, like not just men, but relationships, like romantic ones? Why am I laboring and lingering so much on that when it is the end of the world? Because it thoroughly is, okay? I came from a time when I was not even looking to be married anymore because I was just going through it. I just wanted to go home, right? But when then you give up on the prospect of the rapture being the way that you're going to get out of obscurity or darkness or sorrow, what then can you look at? Basically everything else in the world that you can do while you wait for the Lord to come back. You like, yeah, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, what do you do as a human being? How do you keep busy? How do you wait for his blessed hope? You live. So as a woman, a 37-year-old woman that's like in these conditions, what would be the tantamount of living? I realize that the only way that I can live, given that I currently don't have a life, is to actually go and fall in love or something. Like, do things that people do things that people desire to do, have children, start a business, or whatever. Like, whatever life is, okay, whatever might be the daily thing that you wake up in the morning to do every day, I gotta strive to get that done. So I am presently waking up doing nothing but being the only Power Ranger right now that's busy talking in her cell. But what then must I talk about in order to encourage the other Power Rangers, however many of them there might be? Doesn't necessarily have to be the number 5. What do I do in order to get them to bleep and flashlight and finally speak to me? Because I've been speaking alone in solitary confinement. My goodness. Finally get them to speak to me, so that the two of us, the three of however many, like I said, can come together. Cat, you're really quite the bane of my existence right now because I feel distracted. What do we, like, what in the world under heaven must I do as the person who understands what needs to happen, I'm a Power Ranger. I know that I need to wake up other Power Rangers, or at least encourage them to speak, even though they feel like they can never get out of solitary confinement. Think about it in this way, right? So I'm so annoyed. Like, all of this movement outside, like, it's just satanic. I can't deal. Like, I hate the fact that insensitive people are walking around, living their lives normally, while I have to do this. Like, I'm actively trying to wake up strangers on the internet so we can come together and rescue one another from the obscurity and squalor that people have thrown us into. And so every time I hear these people on the outside, I get annoyed. So please, if I get distracted, understand that it's only because I'm agitated by the apathy of people who are disregarding, ignoring, trying to pretend like this is not a hostage-taking situation. Moving on. Think about it in this way, okay? Imagine being, indeed, in that jail cell, in that solitary confinement environment, as a Power Ranger, and you have had people literally throw away the key after having thrown you in that solitary confinement, such that how you eat is that they throw an apple into your cell every so often throughout the day. How you pee is that you better hope that the toilet, the bathroom, the individual seat in that jail cell does not get clogged up or whatever, because ain't nobody coming to fix it. So everything you do it in there. How you shower, you use basin water. The small little tap that is inside your jail cell, that's how you shower. Like, you don't ever get out. How your laundry gets washed, you have to put it in a bucket and slip it outside for the guards to take it and then bring you a fresh change of clothes. You're that stranded. They have locked you away and thrown away the key, and have insisted on giving you everything you need with scraps, like literally sprinkles of randomness into your space, so that you have at least enough to stay alive for the duration of your prison term, the prison term of which you don't even know how long it's going to last. You're just in there, languishing. You don't know when you're gonna get out. How does a person in that position, when they cannot get recourse rights, they can't go to a prison, like a law system, prison reformers, and talk and be like, look, I think this is just wrong mistreatment, it's overkill, and is it possible for you prison reformers to just like do away with solitary confinement altogether? Or if not solitary confinement, doing away with it, but just make our life conditions better, make our cells larger. And also, it would be really great if you could help us know how long we're going to be in here, so that we can hope at least to start our lives after 10 years of solitary confinement being over. Instead, I'm just in here with no understanding as to when under heaven I'm getting out. You can't even speak to a prison reformer. You literally can't. You're just stuck and there's no way out. So basically, people have locked you away and thrown away the key, and then made like the people on the outside have conversations on the phone, walking up and down, pacing, acting like their own daughters are not in prison. Okay, right. At their own incarceration. So wrongful imprisonment, whatever, South Africa. I'm coming for you. Moving on, right? So what do? Like, where do you find your hope, guys, in a situation like that? Thankful am I that I'm a supernatural being, and I understand that we are created supernaturally by a supernatural being who is spirit. Thank God that I know God. Because a person in my shoes just goes and grabs the sheets in their prison cells, rolls them up, and just hangs, swings like a pendulum. You kill yourself. I'm literally a person right now that is being murdered by suicide. That's it. That's literally it. That is exactly what is going on. But they're in denial. They're trying to act like that's not what's going down. But thankfully, I'm uploading all of this content, so it's obvious that I'm being watched like a tribute in the Hunger Games. It's like so obvious. They're committing broad daylight crimes. They are an uncivilized, like ancient civilization that is into random barbaric human sacrifice rituals. And I just have to like set it out until one day I escape that. That is South Africa. But before then, how do I hope? How do I hope? Before that day ultimately arrives at my doorstep, knocks, and says, hello, I've arrived. How do I hope? Upon a supernatural being and upon supernatural intervention, literally, it has got to be a supernaturally orchestrated release. It cannot be gauging just the natural plane, because there is no coming out of this naturally. After all, the natural key has been thrown away on the day I was thrown into this obscurity by some random witches that thoroughly have no idea that they are zombies, because they're walking around looking like they could actually be alive. They look like they are breathing. They appear to have heartbeats, but they're just dead. And so as dead as they are, when will they ever have an attack of conscience? I mean, dream on. Never. How then do you get out from that level of insensitivity where a whole bunch of zombies are out here wreaking havoc in your life, having thrown you in a prison and also thrown away the key? How do you escape that? How do you survive that? How do you hope to be okay? How do you not commit suicide while you are facing turning 50, 60, 70 in isolation until you die of a ripe old age? How under heaven, when people have locked you away and thrown away the key and then gone on right ahead to cross their fingers hoping you're not going to come out? How do you get out of that? You literally have got to believe in a supernatural exit. Just like Peter, who was in prison, and the prison cells obviously all of a sudden just opened up. The angel, the Lord rocked up. There was a supernatural release, because ain't nobody up in that gangster joint was ever going to release him because they got an attack of conscience. Never. That is where I find myself today. How do you get out? Supernaturally. So as a Power Ranger, what I recognize is my only way out is the voice that I have. I want to sing, I want to shout, I want to scream till the words drown. I put it in all of the papers. I'm not afraid. They can read all about it, read all about it. Oh, 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 oh. Basically, I've got to sing until somebody hears my voice, thinks it's mellifluous, goes on right ahead to bop their heads, and then perhaps maybe just maybe start singing along, because that is the power of the release of us Power Rangers that are in obscurity, squalor, in solitary confinement, in a prison that has thrown us in there and thrown away the keys. The only way out is supernaturally. We have literally got to like churn up supernatural power in order to get ourselves out of here. Like a world that does not believe in supernatural power, albeit having a whole bunch of witches that supernaturally afflict people's lives, is looking at us trusting that Asizo Puma Apa, we're not going to be cool. Wow, what are they doing? Random, strange, fishy stuff that's kind of creepy and eerie. As creepy and eerie as they are, they nonetheless don't care. So essentially, they're the tantamount of the Addams family, but they're carrying on. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. It's just like, and you know, all that weirdness, like something like Beetlejuice, whatever. They just like, you know, glides right by them. It just like rolls right off their skin. They don't care that they look weird. They're eerie. And so, when people don't care that they're looking really scary, fishy, like The Grudge, like the, whatchamacallit, like Chucky, and it's like seriously, like Annabelle, like some doll that's actually talking because it's got a demon in it, like Candyman, say 3 times or 5 times in front of the mirror, and it's over somebody's gonna die, when they're acting as like fishy and scary and ominous and horror movie type strange, what are you gonna do with that? Like, what are you gonna do amidst the people that are so demon possessed they don't care that they look like a horror movie? What are you gonna do? Hope, therefore, to get out of a horror movie, the only way you can get out of a horror movie via exorcism. You probably gotta like dangle a cross in front of a vampire to make it burn. You gotta throw the vampire out into the sun. You have got to do something supernatural. There is no getting out of eerie people doing eerie things in a very eerie capacity, horror movie style, without in and of yourself having a superpower. Tough love. And I have superpowers. I told you I'm a Power Ranger. Don't nobody move. I'm a mutant. Anyway, let's get back to the point. So how in the world is the situation going to be extracted out of our individual circumstances? We have to discover that one is wind, one is fire, one is air, one is, I don't know, sky, right? They have got to discover that. And so therefore supernaturally get those doors opened just like they opened for Peter. Supernaturally get those doors opened just like they opened, those prison bars open just like they happened for Peter. You have got to extract, like Constantine, demons out of a circumstance. You cannot rely on natural means. Now imagine then, in this particular prison, where fire is in one prison, wind is in another prison, sky or earth is in another prison, air, whatever, right? And they don't know that they're Power Rangers. And then water's like, and then all of a sudden, after like 3 years of going alone, like wind is like bum bum, and then the water chick is like bum, and like, oh my, and then it's an orchestra, and they start to sing, and as they continue to sing, not fire, who's this? Yeah, fire, because I get it, I was water, and then wind started to like zing, and then fire's like boom, 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 and then all 5 of them start to sing in concert, and then next thing, fire starts to burn, like, you know, at the locksmith or at the ladysmith, who the dude that makes the goldsmith, yeah, the goldsmith. You know how goldsmith like deals with like hot metals that he has to handle very carefully, but they become mendy and bendy, but under normal circumstances they're hard and impermeable, impenetrable, and you can't get to them. Literally, the level of heat that at a goldsmith's could cause gold to melt, then all of a sudden appears on the prison bars, like on the lock, and then melts away, and then the doors open, and these like Power Rangers get out, and they are like dun, 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 and they're like, oh my goodness. And because they together now realize who they are, because they now realize what they are, the prison guards, the prison system, the even prison reformer that they can't get to fast enough, then has to just kind of like move aside and let them walk, or else. Because now they've got supernatural power where all they have are keys. Whereas what I have is power to melt like solid bars of a prison cell down. Either get out of the way or be obliterated en route to me getting to where I need to get. It is the splitting of the Red Sea. Once the power of God in myself and all these people with whom I'm supposed to come together is gauged, and once the combination, or the, the coming together by us, once we find each other, the concerted power, the unified power of all of us combined and what we're going to prosper to achieve is going to be impossible to uproot. What is therefore important for me is to keep on singing, so that somebody who has been broken and crushed by rejection for years will finally be encouraged and motivated by my mellifluous singing. I want to sing, I want to shout, to join me. And so to bring down 10,000, it is an exponential growth of power when Christians come together. Where 2 or 3 are gathered, there he is with us. 1 brings down 1,000, 2 brings down 10,000. And so you can trust that 3 bring down 100,000. And 4, 1,000,000. It is an exponential growth curve. It does not grow flatly like that which you would find in linear regression. It is exponential. And so because it is exponential, Power Rangers Abai 5, we're dealing with 1 billion people that are laid waste. 1 billion. Do you understand? Nobody can bring that situation asunder. But in order to awaken Power Ranger number 3, 4, 5, 1 and 2 first have to sing in concert. So whoever is the first one to sing is the first one to encourage the next one out of the slumber and the slump of the sorrow that they have been feeling for being rejected for as long as they have been feeling rejected. And then the power of the 2 will take the 3rd one out, and then the 4th and the 5th. And once we all come together, all of a sudden, these lackluster, random, strange 5 or 10 views for a woman with such great quality content will be history. South Africa, your witchcraft, your random principalities, whatever's chilling on my ministry, all of your witchcraft, your Wuka Chaka, your eerie little Annabelle, ooh, conjure with them that you're doing Candyman saying it 5 times and so somebody's gonna die. Your Chucky or Chucky's bride or Addams Family type, like we are haunting vampiric structures, like a horror movie that you are doing here, bewitching every last thing that I say and do. It is going to be so easily swept out of the way once, never mind, the 3rd Power Rangers wakes up at just the 2nd. All I need is the 2nd to literally neutralize my bad stats on Facebook, my bad stats on YouTube. Like, I have got such high quality content that I often go on YouTube or even Facebook and check out other videos there, and I'm like, am I pompous or arrogant to feel that way? No, I'm sorry. I'm relevant. I am impressive. I am absolutely reaching and I'm touching. And as reaching and touching and as like freaking flagrantly seasoning as I am, because I'm a city on a hill, that's what's good. I'm strangely not hurt. Like, I'm strangely not hurt. This is not me tooting my own horn. This is me knowing what call I have in Christ and what he has given me in terms of a suite of giftedness to be able to get into you and therefore knock some sense into your head. And for me to not be able to do that, it's just like, what's going on over here exactly? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, yo, I'm skilled, I'm gifted, but no. I'm dealing with a zombie land full of the Addams Family, and as ominous as they look, as ghoulish as they are, as voodoo doll piercing as they indeed might be, continuing as conglomerated with each other, as gaunt and like gothic as they all are, I am nonetheless way more powerful than them. But they don't know that yet, because the 2nd Power Ranger is feeling some kind of way, even though they've been hearing my voice for a minute. All they need to do is start to sing along, okay? Like, when you crush a person for so long that they don't know who in the world they are, they look in the mirror and they can't recognize themselves anymore. A person has to keep on trying and trying and pushing and trying and trying, ironing their creased shirt so they don't have to walk out into public looking like a gangster. And then one day they will open their mouths and you will be shook that was in them all along. Like, that's just what God does. He takes the weak things of the world to shame the strong, and the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. And since we are made weak, and since we are made foolish, we are going to lambaste you. And when then we do, it's going to be the biggest and baddest prison break under heaven. Michael Schofield ain't got jack on us. The prison of which we are in because of spiritual warfare, spiritual attack. The prison of which is, frankly, our generational curses eating at us alive. Frankly, peeling our skin off because, like I said, you're ghoulish, you're gory, you're gothic, and so you do things like peel people's skin off. You skin people alive. Like, witches, stop. What are you doing? We're coming for you. I don't need to be concerted with by 20,000 people. I just need the Power Rangers. And they are listening to me. They're just not confident enough to start humming along. Enough for me to know that, hey, yo, you've been looking at me. Hey, yo, what's up? I mean, why you been so quiet all this time? It's solitary confinement. We're lonely. We better keep talking. We need each other. We're in prison. There's no getting out without each other. Why then has the Lord seen it fit? Why has the Father in heaven seen it like entirely and comprehensively fit to make me concentrate on things like marriage? I mean, goodness, Garabi, you're a Power Ranger. You're supposed to save the world. Who does that while married? Precisely that. A partnership in Christ that's going to ransack, handle, lambaste, and absolutely humiliate that which or those who tried to block the power or the impact of a woman and a man that come together in Christ. And so therefore do what the Lord has seen it fit to have them do. Powerfully so in a way that they individually could not quite achieve. And so therefore lambaste you and drop you like dominoes, blah blah blah, one by one while you thought you had it. You had it down. The Lord is in the business of empowering the disenfranchised. He is a father to the fatherless. He is a, what do you call this? A husband to the widow, okay? Yeah, that's what the Lord does. He takes care of people that don't nobody want to look at anymore. And I have not been getting looked at. And I'm like, what are you doing? Do you not see I am supposed to be looked at? But you are in denial. Facebook, you're zombies. I don't know what's going on with you. I don't know why you act like my content is not the baddest in the game. I don't know why you act like I need you. No, I don't need you. You need me. But you're carrying on like a bunch of zombies is what zombies do. They walk in concert with each other, grunting, groveling, saying nothing comprehensible, but nonetheless they think they're cool because they're together, united, in concert against an innocent person. I feel like Rick in The Walking Dead or Michonne or something. Bunch of zombies like, and they're still coming at me like, what? I'm just gonna walk away, okay? I'm gonna walk away and like get into a room where you can't even sniff me or see me, and so you will suddenly like realize that I'm not in the room anymore, and so do your own thing, and the moment I like sneeze, you then realize that, there's a human being alive somewhere, so you walk to that spot, and then you discover afterwards that, oh no, I don't know what's going on because she's quiet again. That's what happens with you zombies. As soon as I go quiet, I'm under the ground, I'm under radar, you shut up, you don't do your witchcraft, you like stop dead in your tracks, shut up, stitch you, and then the person comes out again, and you're like, and you run. So I'm done hiding from you zombies. You know, in The Walking Dead, they like saying, the world is the zombies, we just live in it. I'm sorry, no, the world belongs to God's people made in his image, and it is ours to rescue, therefore, from the rest of you. I don't know if we are in the end of the world, where the mark of the beast is about to be taken. That's the day when the world is going to belong to you zombies, and we just live in it. So you will martyr the church until they fill up 1,600 stadia with your blood. But until then, it actually belongs to those made in the image of God who are still interested in responding to the gospel. And so therefore, if you're going to walk around zombies, ghoulish, skinning people alive, like I said, you're into random, weird, creepy, ghoulish stuff, we're gonna come and take the world back from you. You do not get to inhabit or populate God's earth with your random mixed seed with like fallen angels and men. Last time people did that, the world came to an end through a flood. Okay? Like those of you who are busy fornicating with fallen angels, producing Nephilim, big fat giants that Goliath gets slain by David. No. Mm-mm. You and your like intricate weaving together with satanic spirits, fallen entities, things that have been rejected from long ago, who have got the lake of fire set apart for them, but you insist on diving in there with them. You who are doing that. I'm sorry, this is not your world, not yet. The Antichrist has not yet been revealed, and so therefore, it's our earth now, okay? It's ours to give the gospel. It's ours to flourish God's agenda. It is ours to snatch souls out of the flames of hell of. And if you have no interest in doing that, go and join Satan, Beelzebub, and Leviathan in the flames of hell that has been set apart for just him, but you insist on going in there, but you don't get to prevent everybody else from hearing the gospel. It is not yet the end. The rapture has not yet happened. The tribulation has not yet come upon us. And so therefore there is still hope for those who will listen. And you witches who sit on ministries of Christians because you've been made, like I said, ghoulish, you're strange, you skin people alive, we're gonna knock you out the way. It's not The Walking Dead. It's not a zombie apocalypse, not yet. It's not the mark of the beast days, just yet. We haven't arrived there, just yet. Where most people are beeping and clicking on their foreheads and right hands because they're walking to a store because they got a chip or whatever. We haven't gotten there. And so that means that people in the image of God are supposed to be listening to the Most High. And you're blocking that. Go, go, Power Rangers is going to fix it. Because 1 brings down 1,000, 2, 10,000, 3, 100,000, 4, a million. Beyond that, billions, okay? And the earth has only 8 billion people, so all the bears trying to thwart Christianity, we might indeed be on the narrow road that leads to life, that few there be that find it. But if only 5 or 10 people can bring down the insanity of an entire planet, you ain't got jack on us, because there are way more than 5 or 10 Christians on the earth. You're naive. Totally, entirely, wholeheartedly. All I need is my fellow Power Rangers, and I'm gonna sing, and I'm gonna shout, I'm gonna scream till the words dry out, and put it in all of the pages. I'm not afraid. You can dream about your insanity, dream all about it, oh, that I will keep quiet, but Blum, make like a flower and chill, like Blum. Do that. I'm not going anywhere. My Power Rangers just need to realize that they got a job to do. They got work to do. They got a job, baby. And can't nobody walk away from the call of God. Even if you out here in these streets passing God's shade, because you're like Moses. And you're like, but I stutter. God is God, like, what? Can I not help you? Am I not in the business of fixing all that? Am I not in the business of speech therapy? Like what? Like, hey, go preach. He tried to walk away from the call. And God almost killed him if Zipporah did not stand in the gap. If Zipporah did not go and circumcise her son in sacrificing for the Lord, that he might not kill her husband, because her husband was like, I don't want to stutter. Hey, go preach, dude. So God gave Moses in the run-up to him finally doing what he needed to do. Aaron, understand God Almighty. When he calls you, you don't get to make like Jonah and run away to Tarshish in a ship and cause it to almost sink. You are going to be made to do what you want to do, whether you want to run away. So granted that the Lord is the one that makes people ultimately respond to their calling, whether or not they don't want to do it, I trust that my Jonah is going to stop making people drown at sea, that my Moses is going to realize that I don't care if you stutter, I am Zipporah, I stood in the gap, you don't get to die, you're going to go and get the people of God out from the land of slavery. Whether or not you can comprehend like written text, whether you can write, whether you can spell, whether you can squat or stand straight on the spot. If God intends to make you do a handstand even though you have no hands, he will give you hands and they will grow supernaturally from your shoulders. That's what Christ is in the business of doing. So whatever lack of talent or whatever issue a person might have, I don't care for it. All I know is that if you're Jonah, go sleep in the deck of a boat, dude, and make some people kick you out, and then live in the belly of a fish for a minute, and then you're gonna preach to Nineveh. So whether or not your witchcraft is causing a person to feel like that, I can't talk, I can't breathe, I can't even blink, they will talk, breathe, and blink, because God will make them do it. I'm not scared. My fellow Power Rangers are gonna get out from their insensitivity and their insecurity and their desire to capitulate to a lackluster life given them by random okies out in these streets that are into ghoulish antics like skinning people alive. I'm strong. I'm super duper strong. And do you see all of my mellifluousness? You know how I am so articulate and things like words just like gonna roll off my tongue? Kifans, I've always been well spoken, but I've never been this smooth. God did that. God took away my stutter, and said, Javam! So he will do it in the other Power Rangers. God will give them articulation, and all of a sudden they will be smooth when before they were steady, and their staff is going to be turned into a snake that's going to eat all of the snakes of Pharaoh's magicians. That is my fellow Power Rangers. You are messing with the wrong girl. So that said, why the sudden focus on romance? Well, it is only because the Lord God Almighty, since I'm fasting and since I'm fasting, things are being revealed to me and I'm like, a revelation, look at it. And the Lord has shown me that one of my go-go Power Rangers is my husband. So, why then concentrate and focus on talking so much about men and what they do and how they stink and can't nobody do nothing for them and really like rabbits, all they do is just hop around with no sense? It's because that Go-Go Power Ranger has no idea that he's supposed to talk, he's supposed to squat, he's supposed to stand. He doesn't know just what God has called him to do. When you're supposed to split the Red Sea and you're sitting in some random bush one day, you're not going to quite see the connection of the dots of how you get there until the Lord providentially orders something in your path to tell you, hey, I'm going to split the Red Sea. But when am I going to split the Red Sea? Just go. And so first you start by talking to a stubborn dude who's going to let his kid die before he'll let you go, change his mind, and then you're going to be like, he did say that I would split the Red Sea. I see how that came about. Can't fathom that you're supposed to preach. Can't fathom that you're supposed to be freaking gargantuan, mammoth, huge. Well, of course, you're not going to be able to see it when you're still busy out in these streets getting spat on, because you did try and like rescue some person that was slave driving your people and they hated you for doing it because now they're getting persecuted. When, despite being called to set people free and they spit on you, you're not going to see how one day, just one day, you're going to be splitting the Red Sea. Look even at Joseph. He was set apart to rescue his brothers and he told them, hey, yo, one day you're going to pay homage to me, eh? And they were like, threw him into slavery. And he was like, how in the world am I supposed to do that? How am I supposed to save people that threw me into slavery? How are they supposed to pay homage to me? How are they supposed to bow down? How in the world are they supposed to treat me like I'm the baddest dude in the game when they've currently made me stank, look like a slave, work as a slave in a foreign country with bad xenophobia, and then throw me into prison? How's this even okay? And then Joseph got humbled and life happened and providence happened. He met the cupbearer, he met the baker, and then next thing he was the prime minister of Egypt. And a couple of years down the line, who'd have thunk it? His brothers came and guess what they did? Paid homage to him. Takes time. Don't nobody know how certain things can never happen. You just need to know that by taking the first step, you ultimately will run. So you don't get to sit You don't get to be told that one day you're going to be ripped as an athlete and then not lift your first dumbbell because you're fat. Like, you literally don't get to think it's going to happen overnight. You got to understand it's going to take a process of pruning. It's going to take a process of grooming. It's going to take a process of uprooting. Like, inconsistencies in you, you're going to be cleaned up. You're going to be chiseled, shone. You're going to have somebody put brasso on you, and so you're going to shine as in like a gold like ornament. You are going to have a season of draining. It's not just going to happen overnight. And once you get to your final calling, you will realize that, it's because I took that first step. That's why I'm sprinting now. So Power Rangers, whoever you are, you're probably whack, you suck, you're lackluster, you can't sing, you can't like blink, you can't stutter, I don't know, whatever. Like, it's so bad that you can't even stutter, it doesn't matter. Bottom line is, everybody gets to go to school. If you've got an issue with speaking, everybody gets to have speech therapy. Like, I did not start off this mellifluous, okay, I've been trained over years. I've been studying for a minute. I never knew anything about the world. I used to hate the news. Believe it or not, I grew up hating the news. I was like, news, schnews. But now I'm informative. Now I could totally be a correspondent for a news channel. I could. Why? Because I learned. It's been 8 years in this position, but I am now good enough to be a person that covers world events and a lot of Bible prophecy. So, don't nobody just start. Don't nobody just start. They go to school. You don't learn how to do trigonometry before you can figure out 1 + 1 = 2. You have to be prepared to be trained, to be groomed. You have to acknowledge where it is that you can't do things. If somebody tells you that what you have written is whack, this is how you can reorder your language because you don't know how to do grammar right, let them do that. When I was at MTN, there was this MTN is the last company that I used to work for. What you call it? It's not a TED Talk, but it was Toastmasters. I don't know why TED Talk came to me, because they both sound like T's. Toastmasters was this like the speech, sort of kind of public speaking like seminar group that it was like a whole corporate thing where people were trained to basically improve how they speak, how they give presentations. I frankly have not even been healed from saying all the time. I'm always saying but a TED Talk, not TED Talk, sorry, but Toastmasters teaches you to like stop even being like every time you speak. So I didn't get that right, but I mean everywhere else I'm good, so please like give me a break, right? This Toastmasters thing, I attended it, and it was there when I discovered, I was told, I was like, I thought I could speak, I thought I could just kill it, like kick it, like rock up on some and just start speaking, because I've always been good at talking. And the dude there, that was like the main chairman, was like, Karabo, you're well spoken, congratulations, say hi to Karabo and say thank you, Karabo, for blessing them. This is the critique that I have, and I was told, like, I was like, he chipped away at my confidence. So I never went back, pompousness. I was unteachable then, but now I know, like, dude, I still have the ums in me. See, if I stayed at the TED Talk, I probably would not be saying so very many times. He basically told me that I say like way too many times. He also said that I speak very fast. I bet you can still tell that that's an issue. Typesetup thing, but I was basically trained, not trained, but I was told, I was given constructive criticism that I a lot and that I speak fast. And this is not the only place where this was given me as a critique. I used to be a trainer in corporate, and when my boss would come in and sit in to like grade me, not grade me, grade is such a like childlike word, but review, like assess, for my appraisal and whatnot, she was like, you generally do very well, but you speak fast. Like, I've been told that I speak fast. I just still need to work on that. It's because there's so many ideas in my brain. Anyway, whatever. So I was told that I speak fast, but otherwise I'm generally well spoken. And my boss also like highlighted that I'm like on some and my job as a trainer, I was there before working for MTN. So years down the line progressed, and I was still umming and speaking like a bus, just like killing it on the highway type establishment thing. So if I had chilled in Toastmasters and actually allowed my speech to be groomed, who knows? I could be writing speeches for the president of the country today. But no, I got thrown into squalor and obscurity. In all fairness, it's not that I don't want to continue to go to Toastmasters. I got fired from my job for doing, like, I don't know, nothing at all. I was like hurt. So I'm in this position now, so I still have those same tendencies from back in the day. Perhaps I need to correct it. I have training in and of myself to endure, but I have grown in this season by going to God and asking him to make me who it is that he said I was going to be. And so I'm where I'm at right now. I haven't arrived. I'm en route. I've been in persecution underground for 8 years. I've been underground for 8 years, and in that 8 years I have gotten chiseled the way that I presently am, to a point where people can hang on to every last word that I say, despite having been speaking now for an hour 4 minutes. I speed edit, and that's why it seems like it's been shorter than that so far. God did that. So you don't want to stutter, go to Jesus and he will train you how to speak. If you have got grammar problems, so you don't know what comes before is and I and them and that and where to put a comma, go to Jesus. The Lord knows how to teach. He is the be-all and end-all of teacher. He is the great teacher. He is God. Of course, he teaches about his things. You're his creation, and so therefore he can do with it whatever he wants, including make it stellar and acceptable. God is in the business of draining. And I'm dealing right now, from what the Lord God Almighty is showing me, with Power Rangers that have been so crushed and debilitated by society. Everybody else just going on to treat them like Sandra D. Look at me, I'm Sandra D, bursting with virginity. Won't go to bed till I'm lawfully wed. It's me, Sandra D. And people just want to rock up and be like, goodbye to Sandra D. It's the chastity of the Lord. I don't want to go. The world hates us because we're chaste, we're poor, we're lovely. And so, of course, they're going to want us to be like Sandra D that ultimately forgets that she's chaste waiting on the Lord. No. We're strong, not them. We can do all things through him who gives us strength. And so, therefore, not goodbye to Sandra D, but how about we prune Sandra D so Sandra D can be motivating enough to get everybody else to stay a virgin until they're married. Is that basic? We got power. We've got the power. Sing, 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 sing. We've got the power. And they be out in these streets acting like we ain't potent. Nah, it's not that kind of party, neither that kind of game. We're not going there. It's that basic. The Lord made me this way. And so because we have power to rather move people to our paradigm, shift it to our viewpoint, we've got power therefore to snatch souls even out from the flames of hell. We have got power. Like Martin Luther had power early on to bring about the Protestant Reformation. He was standing against the pontiff of the time, the Catholic Church, the clergyman of the time, the Jesuit, whatever you are, not Jesuit, what do you call like the the popery, the papacy. He was standing against the papacy, and I mean back then they were just as strong as the government. Like there was literally barely any segregation between church and state, and the dude overwhelmed them single-handedly. He had the power because God taught him. Literally, we tip dominoes. That's what happens. Men in the kingdom of heaven have gone on to do excellent, beautiful things. The resolutions of Jonathan Edwards. Charles Spurgeon was the prince of preachers. To this day, we are still listening to him. He had the power. That's what God's disciples do. Single-handedly. What then when they come together with other believers? So I'm Zipporah, okay? Standing in the gap of Moses who doesn't want to preach. And, like, what do you call this thing? Circumcising on the 8th day the son. So that, like, God does not strike this Okie dead, like, right there, for refusing to respond to his calling. Power Rangers. I give you earth, fire, wind, whatever. If you think I'm potent, if you think I'm poignant, if you think I'm extreme and I'm deep, understand that whatever under heaven I am is apparently light, a pin drop in the ocean in comparison to my husband and to some of the other Power Rangers that need to rise up from the dirt and the gravel and disregard the misinterpretation or misunderstanding or the whatever it is that they're doing in the corner. They off their person by everybody else out in these streets. Like they've been getting underestimated, like no man's business, and so they don't want to stand. So I come here and I sing every day. I try, I push, because I hope to arise somebody from the dead. I hope to wake Lazarus up from the dead. Lazarus, come forth, like wake up. We are literally all of us facing perpetuated lies in obscurity, squalor. The only way we can get out from the difficulties, the victims of the circumstances that we are in right now, is to come together. So that's why I still continue to come here on Facebook. This random place, zombie vibes, much watch. We're gonna fix it, okay? I have got the antidote to cure your zombie disease. But you're not gonna hear me, neither listen to me until I have prospered to come together with my fellow Power Rangers, one of whom is my future husband. So therefore the Lord has put it in me, and this is only the beginning of very many other things that I need to talk here, because not all the Power Rangers are my husband. But I first need to talk to this guy. And this is what under heaven he has revealed to me. There is a stubbornness, a severe asinineness, like a foolishness, like a Balaam's donkey type vibe, just going on, like an anger, an irritation, an annoyance at me. John 15, Butlam. John 15, the branches, the vine dresser, the Father who is the vine dresser, who prunes the branches that they might bear more fruit, and Christ himself is the vine. Yeah, no, pruning is a painful process. You basically get told you ain't that great, and you have to accept it, acknowledge, move on, and realize that in the absence of literally taking criticism constructively so in your stride and allowing the Lord to chisel away at you, you're not going to grow. And that which does not bear fruit, herein lies the deal also. You're going to be cut up, bound in chains, and thrown into that place in the outer darkness where there is weeping and gnashing of teeth, the parable of the talents. The Lord gives you 1, the Lord gives you 2, the Lord gives you 3. Depending on how many talents you have a responsibility as a steward of those talents to go and make more talents. The dude with the 1 talent buried it in the ground and said that, taskmaster, I know you're really hard knock, and you do not reap where you sow or sow where you reap. You know that scripture. And God said, you lazy and slothful servant, and threw him into the outer darkness in that place where there is weeping and gnashing of teeth. Assigned him a place with the hypocrites because he took his 1 talent and buried it in the ground. Whereas the guy with the 2 talents, he gave 2 more. And the dude had been given more talents. With the 5 talents, he gave that dude 5 more, including a 1 talent of the dude that buried it in the ground. So if you are sitting where you're sitting as a Christian and you are not using your gifts, you are not actively ministering, you are not working, you are not typing, you are like whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing, scribing, like writing a book, a novel, whatever the Lord has given you charge to do, you are burying your talent in the ground, and God is going to assign you a place where the hypocrisy is going to put you in that place in outer darkness where there is weeping and gnashing of teeth, where the worm dieth not. And the smoke of your torment will rise up forever. You will be disregarded as a disciple, especially considering as well that you were close in proximity to the light because you were always in the scriptures. You will have a much more torturous eternal fire. So, pride, arrogance, ego, all that stuff. Like eat grass for 7 years and then wake up and realize that the Lord has done this thing. The nations of this world are counted as nothing before Emmanuel. Who can say to him, what have you done? You don't get to bury your talent as Moses. You don't get to say, God, no, it's okay, I'll pass. You don't get to make like Jonah and run away from God. You preach if that's what he wants you to do. And if you can't preach, trust that he will send you to Toastmasters, okay? And you will stop saying, and talking too fast like a rebel. He will give you what you need in order to do what you need to do. But you do not, as a Christian at all, let this be a warning in general to all believers. You don't get to sit on any individual talent that the Lord has given you. You are not to just merely be downloaded into random bouts, copious ones at that, of information. And then you just sit on them on some, I'm edified. You don't get to listen to other Christians preach. You don't get to watch Garabo work. You do not get to watch Tom Hughes work and Paul Washer. You do not get to go on Facebook and watch Chad, the Watchman on the Wall, or the Watchman, whatever might be the various channels of Christians online. You don't get to go and watch Alan Parr, like do what he needs to do for the day, or what do you meme? You do not get to watch believers across the world do what they do on the daily work, strive. You don't get to watch Ruslan continue to tell you why the war in Ukraine is likely not going to result in World War III because that's his speculation. You don't get to watch all of these Christians literally starting ministries in whatever capacity, be it in a website or YouTube or even a street evangelist on the side of the street like Joe Kirby or Living Waters Ray Comfort. You don't get to tune in and watch Ray Comfort. You don't get to watch people who are actively doing God's word, grabbing pics on YouTube. If you don't think you're picturesque or photogenic or you don't record well, you could then just do like a voiceover. You don't get to not do anything for Christ. Sit around all day gathering dust, letting hours progress while you consume volumes upon volumes of Christian content, information, literally listening to sermon after sermon after sermon. And then in and of yourself, once you have had all of that seed planted inside of you, not burst, not vomit, not pour out, the Lion of the tribe of Judah has roared. Who can but prophesy? We're in a famine in the land. We're not of a thirst of water, not of eating bread, but of hearing the words of the Lord God the Father. And it is your responsibility to go and feed those parts of the land that are in great famine, but that are parched and happy to hear the word of God. You don't get to have all that in you, literally, and like not do anything. You will have sat under the preaching of some of the most sound preachers and listened to everybody talking about how it is that they think this is the mark of the beast, and this is like literally all the speculation that Christians are making right now. They're gathering of information, they're coming together to exchange notes. You don't get to just like bask under that and in and of yourself do nothing. Everybody has a job here. My goodness, we are one body, many parts. We all work. Everybody that comes to Christ has a ministry, however small it might be. They all have a ministry. You do not get to not do that and just merely bask and listen to everybody and get to enter into heaven. God will call you a lazy and a slothful servant. He will say of you that he gave you these many talents. You will know what talents you had, and you did not chisel them, therefore. You had one talent. It could have been made 2 talents or 3 or 4. He could have chiseled the one that you had. He could have made it better. He could have increased it and multiplied it. Do you understand? He could have given you a singing talent when you last had none, or he could have improved your existing voice. He could have made you speak better if at all you were stuttering. He could have gone on right ahead and taken you to speech school. But you took that talent and you buried it. And because the world was treating you like trash, you were like, no, but they were so mean. And I was so I am very badly mistreated. Everybody is disregarding the fact that my work is excellent. And yet I come every day and I post, don't I? I've got a YouTube channel with so many videos on it that don't nobody watch, but I keep on coming tomorrow, don't I? I keep on writing laborious, long, lengthy the articles in my WordPress account, even though every so often nobody even likes them, nobody comments, let alone like. I still work like a gangster. I don't get to bury my talents. And so what in the world of heaven has the Lord seen fit to do now that I've used all of my talents? He's given me the talents of those that have buried them in the ground and throw them into utter darkness. The Lord has literally packed me with more giftedness because I have used what little giftedness he started me out with. I've only grown in grace, and I've been pruned, and I've John 15 like no man's business. I've heard his voice and been led out like in John 10. And so therefore the Lord has given me stewardship over much more. The Lord has made me grow. I was once a time a tiny little nut in a tree. Now I am a buxom peach and a pear and a strawberry and a watermelon. I've grown in fruit. Have you, Power Ranger, sitting in the cell next to me over there, hearing me dum 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 dum, but you don't want to sing along? I'm sorry, pride and arrogance? Get over it. I'm as good as I am because the Lord has chiseled me, he has trained me, he has refined me. He's made me better. you can get better too, but it will take time. Everybody goes through school. There are no quick fixes. There are no quick fixes. There are no 5 seconds from today, I'm going to be a superstar. Even the baddest singers in the game go for voice training. Go and ask Adele if she didn't get sent for voice training. She's really great. Go and ask Beyonce. Has Beyonce knows? Yes, go listen to Beyonce's music back when she was in Destiny's Child. And listen to her sing Listen, for instance, today. Listen to her sing anywhere at all. Listen to her singing Halo. Massive difference. She started out kind of flat, and now she's killing it. Everybody goes through pruning and training, and they get better if they actually put in the work. So, will you allow the Lord to voice coach you? Oh, what do you call you, like Power Ranger you? Or are you going to sit on your talent? Because understand that if at all you sit on your talent just like, who is this Oki? Uzziah or Uriah or Uzaza. Oh, I don't know. I forgot. Yeah. Bathsheba's husband. Oh my goodness. Somebody gonna kill you, move you out of the way, and take me from you. It's that basic. Like somebody else is gonna go shoot you dead, knock you out, and take your wife. And the Lord will put him like in punishment, put a like slap on the wrist, cause Bathsheba to lose the first baby, but it's gonna be his wife. You're gonna be like, who is this Oki, this random like buffoon guy in the Bible? Somebody give me to like Abigail's Nabal. You're gonna be like Nabal. Your wife is gonna get taken by some other dude. Is that basic? Like you be sitting out in these streets wreaking havoc, you're gonna lose a woman. The Lord is not going to let me be put in obscurity. God is not going to let me stay here sad and sorrowful and broken. And if you don't want to do what you need to do as a man, about you. I'm Bathsheba, dude. Somebody gonna knock you dead. Like, is that basic? Somebody is gonna knock you dead, and God is gonna slap him on the wrist and give him me. I'm gonna be stolen from you by David. The dude took 2 wives from dudes. He was the guy. He took 2 wives. He took Abigail and he took Bathsheba because he was a king. He like stepped up. He did what he needed to do. So if you want somebody that's happy to fill these shoes, by all means, Nabal, go and die from finding out that David nearly killed you because Bathsheba intervened. Go ahead, right ahead, and lose your lady and die in battle because you don't realize that some dude who went and slept with your wife actually really truly put you in the front lines of battle so you could die. Like, he was too foolish to go home and lay with his wife, and so therefore, like, father, basically David's kid. He decided that he's going to go and fight for his king very well. Let somebody else steal your woman. Acting as if I'm not the baddest chick in the game, like, chill, like, you can't afford to lose me, like, relax, blah, make like a flower, like, trying to get me to lose my sass. This very sass is what's gonna win some very stubborn people for Christ, hey? My sass is like Balaam's donkey, like something that speaks sense into people who didn't think that an animal was supposed to speak on them. But why are you bridling me? What did I ever do to you? You can't curse those whom God has blessed, and you can't bless those whom God has cursed. My sass is like Balaam's donkey. It handles some of the most ridiculously stubborn and obstinate people under heaven, and if I am not the sassy, they will just look at me like, whatever, ain't nothing to write home about here. I get to diss my enemies successfully because I'm sassy. So if you think my attitude is a little bit spicy, if you think that I'm a little bit too much, that I am disrespectful, I guess then you're Nabal. David gonna take a lady from a brother. Is that basic? Like, it's a threat, yes, a threat. It is not a warning, it's a threat. And I'm telling you, uzolahlekelwa, Buddhiza, Power Ranger, that try to sing along, but now you all angry. You are unsanctified. You are worldly. You are not coming around fast enough. You are skating on thin ice. By the skin of your teeth are you basically about to enter into the kingdom of heaven. Through the fire, that's what's going on. You are barely bearing fruit. You are still only bearing a little nut, an acorn, when you're supposed to be literally like flourishing a vineyard. And on top of that, you've been hot and cold with Christ all throughout your walk. Is that basic? You are dealing with a very fervent woman that has been solid with Christ, having never backslidden even once in 8 years of persecution and 11 years of Christianity. And you rock up with all of these fluffy stats all over the show. And you just want a woman that has been this close to Jesus Christ to rather settle for your narrative. I'm sorry, I'm the stronger Christian here. I'm the one bearing a vineyard for fruit, whereas you've got a little acorn. By the skin of your teeth, you will enter into the kingdom of heaven. You need training, you need grooming, you need to be chiseled, you need to be filed away at, you need to have your, like, flyaway hairs cut. You need to go to the gym. If at all you're going to get all ripped, you need to start lifting the first dumbbell. If at all you're obese, you need to start like taking the first walk down the street and then back again if you're going to get to the point of losing all of those pounds. It's that basic. You don't get to rock up in the life of a very, very, very fervent daughter of the living God and then be like, I have found a good ring. Whoever found a wife have found a good ring. Oh, Jesus, please give me to her. Well, if you take the prayer to Christ to give you a woman, you need to be prepared to do what it takes in order to win her. You're facing a life of severe loneliness, just like me. But I am facing breakthrough out of it, whereas you are facing severe loss that you're just not going to be able to get past. And so you're going to sing that song, yeah, Lecrae, back in the day, I don't want to be bitter, bitter, bitter. You're going to be bitter. Don't nobody lose a woman like me and don't get bitter. Only go ask my ex-boyfriend, like seriously, go knock on his door and be like, hey, what was it like to lose Karabo? And he will tell you, I still can't deal to this day. I keep on bewitching her because I'm super bitter, 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 bitter. Go and ask any guy, even the only Christian, even the only man I've ever dated as a Christian. Go and ask him what's going on with him today. Has he ever found another Karabo? No. We're rare, we're few and far between. I mean, narrow is the road that leads to life, and few they be that find it. How much smaller in number, therefore, are the actual women? Because, there are men and women on earth. Small number, hard to come by. And when you find one, it's a gem, it is rare, it is beautiful, it is a diamond, it is uncut, and yours is to polish it. Not try and bury it underground, just like the talents that you are burying right now. And then get thrown into outer darkness for daring. Imagine yourself a David, when you are rather more like Bathsheba's husband, or even worse, Nabal, the fool that lost the baddest chick in the game. Don't do it. Just chill, relax. Don't do anything of that nature. God has the back of his daughters. And if a man rocks up and sees a great woman and then goes to God and says, Father, please give me that lady, the Lord is not going to say, no, you suck, you bite, you haven't done right, and all of these years you've been backsliding. You've been walking around like a pig eating, and what it is like a dog in the mire that you vomited. I am tired of you, I'm sick. I am just not doing this. It's not about that life anymore. I tried. I gave you 10 chances now. No more. No, sorry. The Lord is slow to anger, abounding in steadfast love, and he's into forgiveness. If at all as a man you desire to indeed love a woman as Christ loved the church, the Lord will be like, very well, I'm going to put you through a test then. She's my daughter. She's consecrated. She's really super hard knocking intense, right? So she loved me. She deep. Like she all up in my girl sitting next to me every day. Like we high five. Okay, that's my baby. And I will give her to you. But you have got to show me that she is safe in your hands. The Lord is not going to go and throw a seasoned, godly woman in the life of a brand spanking new, struggling, kind of ashy, need baby Christian that hasn't grown even though he's been in Christ for 20 years. Like, no. If you don't want to grow overnight, like literally, like a balloon, like a helium balloon, and all of a sudden just start floating. If you don't want to enter into a time machine and suddenly walk into the body of a 27-year-old man, a 30-year-old man, a 40-year-old man, when yesterday you were like a crawling baby. If you don't want to do that, he's not going to give you a seasoned daughter. It's that basic. He's not going to say, no, you've got... God is forgiving. He's full of grace. If at all you have a genuine intention to love a woman that has been unloved, he's not going to say no. The Lord is not going to deny a person, a disciple, an opportunity to love another disciple. There is not enough love to go around for Christians in this world. The world hates disciples. And so therefore, if somebody wants to rock up and love a believer that has not been loved, God is going to give them everything they need in order to make that love possible. God is going to give a man everything he needs in order to love me in the way that I need to be loved, and also handle my enemies after all. The Lord has been preparing for me a table in the presence of my enemies. He's not going to let me get taken by a guy that's lesser in terms of his ability to come to the party than an ex-boyfriend that put witchcraft on me. He is not going to let me get humiliated by friends on Facebook who are going to be like, oh my goodness, did you see the guy that she married? No. But the Lord will make ripe and ready a man that says, Lord, if you can use anyone, use me. He will groom you. He will not just merely say no because you're not ready. He will say, are you prepared to do what it takes? And if you say yes, but then you remain stubborn, oh my goodness, you are like the dude in the word of the Lord in the book of James who asks for something but does not believe that he's going to receive it. And so therefore, you are unstable in all of your ways, double-minded, and do not anticipate therefore on that day that you're going to get what you ask for in prayer. Put in the work. It's that basic. Put in the work. The Lord is not going to deny a man an opportunity to rescue a persecuted damsel in distress, daughter of his that has been disregarded by her entire country. God is not going to allow a woman to stay a Cinderella because a perfect guy that's already chiseled, that's already ready-made, is not at the corner, like knocking on her door. Like ready-made men are so pompous and arrogant right now that they're not even looking at me. So if at all you have a strong desire to win a woman over of that nature, and you see that she is a gem and a pearl, a guarded like princess in the kingdom of heaven, yours is to make like Xerxes and abandon a ridiculous narrative where women are concerned of the world like Vashti, and then for a year prepare the glory and the beauty of Esther, and then marry her and make an honest woman out of her. You do not get to rock up in the life of a woman so severely persecuted and abused by the world and get her embarrassed by her friends. Like, I'm not going to live in a hut, a hole, a shell. And I'm also not going to deal with a person that refuses to be trained, educated, instructed. Deal with a person that, like, does not believe that they can break past a particular level in this world. A person that has got, like, a cage mentality, sitting In solitary confinement, where both of us stand to benefit each other greatly, but they don't realize just what they're about, what a big fat chunky bird they can be, how much they can fly, what wings they can actually sprout from simply believing. Faith as tiny as a mustard seed, with it you can say to a mountain, move, bounce, step, do what you need to do, skedaddle, and that exact thing will happen. Therefore, to not believe that that is true is to keep on praying to God for certain things and then not believing that you're going to get it. And so therefore you're unstable in all of your ways, and you're not going to receive what you want in prayer. You will have your wife taken from you by a David out there who, albeit being irresponsible, will be given some kind of rebuke later on, but not before he takes your wife. And you will be bitter, 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 and not be able to move on. I am warning you, because there are many a man that came into my life in this very season, even before persecution, that saw my godliness, loved it, and I wanted to give them a shot, but they so ransacked and broke me precisely because I was going through it. I was in squalor. My family members were treating me like rubbish, wanted me to rather settle for their narrative. And because I was as godly as I was, God protected me from them and made them mess up like no man's business. This is the first time where the Lord has made me rather try and train a man, counsel a man, let him know that, hey, you're in trouble of losing, because the Lord cares that the world is treating him like trash, and he is a Power Ranger that does not yet realize he's supposed to sing and ululate like a canary on the top of a roof or whatever. Doesn't know it. First time intentions have actually been truly pure. First time that I'm dealing with a person that is not a lukewarm Christian, or a person that is in the world but then professing Jesus Christ. And so therefore, because the Lord cares for his disciples, this is the first time I'm actually telling a guy, you're playing games. And if you don't get your act together, you're going to be the wicked and slothful servant that refuses to walk in Christ. I am keeping this Power Ranger busy as opposed to him keeping himself busy. I struggle to get around to doing what I need to do on the daily, because I've got this ministry, this work that I do. If at all you are like able to just continue to consume content from Christians across the world that can't even get their work out fast enough, but you're just consuming, you are not participating in the kingdom of heaven. The laborers are plentiful, but the harvest, is plentiful, but the laborers are few. And so because the harvest is plentiful and the laborers are few, when then a person that is given much to share and has been in Christ for so long that they should not anymore be on spiritual milk, but should be eating solids like no man's business, they're irresponsible. There are enough Christians that are busy brand spanking new, afresh, getting saved today, that need solid people to not evangelize, disciple them. And if you've been in Christ for so long that you should essentially be a seasoned discipler of Christians, but you're still drinking milk and you're still eating everybody else's content instead of creating your own, you're a slothful servant that is burying your talent underneath the ground. You lack humility, and you need to go to God and beg him to rescue you from your stubbornness, your obstinateness, the fact that you are holding on to your ways and whatnot. God is not just going to easily give you a daughter of his that has been waiting for so long. God is in the business of rescuing Sarah from Abraham's folly in Egypt upon making her a concubine for Pharaoh. God goes and grabs daughters that have been disregarded and just rescues them supernaturally. So I am not the one here in trouble. It is rather the person that stands to lose his Bathsheba. You can either be David and take me from someone, or David again and take me from Nabal, or you can be Nabal, or you can be, is it Uriah or Uzi or Uriah? I think it's Uriah. I stand corrected, but the husband of Bathsheba. You can either be the dude that gets your wife swiped from right underneath your nose, or the dude that swipes a wife from right underneath the nose of some other guy. Because trust me, there is some other guy that was supposed to be my husband, and he passed me up. He wreaked havoc, and now today he's going to regret it. He is Nabal. And so will you be David? I don't know, up to you, but I don't need you, you need me. Is that basic? I'm like Neytiri and Avatar, and you're Jake Sully. You could be the dude riding Tarak Makto, but if you don't want to get around to doing that fast enough, some other dude is going to do it. I am way too fly. That's literally basic. I'm not only way too fly, but also way too seasoned, way too godly for me to be perpetually disregarded. You, on the other hand, are way too unrefined to win or meet a woman of my caliber ever again. You're standing to lose a massive thing. Get your act together. I'm signing out in Christ's name. Cran K, my Power Ranger, will come around, and if he doesn't, somebody will understand. I am doing what work I am doing right now precisely in order to wake up my go Power Rangers. I'm getting married. Get that. Peace.